Welcome to the Reese Report. I'm the mouth of the North, Andrew Reese. And yes, the fearsome foursome is back because the NFL free agency has started and all kinds of havoc has been created. We will talk about good moves, great moves, and horrific moves, cousins to the Falcons, and more as we go along. What money was wasted, what good deals were made. And we'll talk, of course, about the 49ers, the Colts, and Gill's Packers as we go along. I'm joined by Tony the Colt Barbosa, who will now be called Joey Barbosa for the rest of the year. Gil Santos, who made a very interesting change at running back, and Jose Gomes, who our 49ers have been very quiet in the offseason, letting go of a certain player, but we'll get into them as we go along. But let's start with the Colts. Mr. Barbosa, hey, Colts missed the playoffs, losing the last game of the season again to the Houston Texans. We will get into them as they made the best moves of anyone in your division. So good luck there. But let's talk about what your team did. Let's see. Well, they lost Gardner Minshew to the Raiders. We'll get into that later. And then you added couch quarterback Joey Flacco, who went to Cleveland went to Houston and threw away a playoff game. What do you think? And then you re-signed Pittman and a bunch of your other players. So does your team think they're already a Super Bowl contender, not adding anything, or just adding Flacco is going to make them a Super Bowl contender? Which one?
Well, I don't think if you're thinking that they're Super Bowl contenders, anybody that thinks they're Super Bowl contenders, they're wrong. They're not
Okay.
a Super Bowl contender. But I like the re-signings. That they re-signed players, and I like that they signed Flacco. I think it was a good signing. He's going to be a backup. He's not going to be a starter. I think he's a good option. If Richardson does go down, he's a good backup. He's better than Minshew, that's for sure. So I like the deal. I like the Flacco deal, and I like the re-signings. I like that they re-signed everybody. I didn't think they had a bad season. It's just the quarterback play was inconsistent. That's all.
Yeah. I would think that losing Moss also will hurt you
Yeah,
because,
that's a little bit of a loss too. I think it'll definitely. I think in especially in closer games, he might be a bit of a loss there. I agree with that. But we'll see. There's a couple of good running backs. I say decent running backs out there in free agency still. Maybe we can pick one up. So we'll see. We'll
yeah,
see.
the running back market was much better this year, and we'll get into
Yeah.
all the running backs that were signed and changed hands as we go after our teams. But speaking of running backs, let's get to Gil Santos Packers, who shocked the world, destroying the Cowboys. Well, maybe they shouldn't have shocked the world. They destroyed the Cowboys in round one and came very, very close to beating our 49ers. Probably should have won that game. And then they make a very strange move, Gil, and I'm really curious to hear what you have to say about it. They decide to release Aaron Jones because they didn't want to pay him and pick up Jacobs from the Raiders. Do you like or don't like this move?
I don't mind the move. I don't know if it really got them better or they make them worse. I think it's pretty much even. He didn't want to take the pay cut, and I guess that's what it was. But the only thing I see is Jacobs is probably more of a power runner than he is. So because of AJ Dillon was their power runner, but looks like they didn't want to sign him either. So
Right.
Jacobs do both, and they have Wilson that showed some stuff last year that he can be a number two running back on Green Bay. So Green Bay has a lot of young guys that nobody knew about that are starting to come out now. They're going to be dangerous. Um, they let Campbell out, I believe. They signed Nixon, so at least Nixon got signed.
And Bakhtiari, they released Bakhtiari. Is that a
But,
big
but
loss or
it's not because he was never there for 3, 4 years anyways. He was always hurt.
always hurt, right? Yeah.
It's not like he was part of our team anyways.
Yeah.
So to me, it's not like we lost him because we never had him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Uh,
don't think that's a loss.
And Jacobs is
reports,
younger too.
uh,
Yes,
And
uh,
Jacobs is
uh,
younger than Aaron Jones.
yeah. A
So
late report today, Dylan plans to resign with the Packers. Do you think that makes sense, Gil? You have two power runners?
they could do it, but at this point, what Wilson showed last year, and they got Jacobs, they don't really need to resign him. They might as well save the money for someone else.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, it's interesting that they chose to re-sign him. I guess they have to have a backup. A lot of teams have three running backs now. So I guess they're looking to keep him around. Maybe he didn't want too much money. But the Packers pretty much stay as is. They're a dangerous young team with a lot of wide receivers. As long as their O-line can hold up and Love takes the necessary steps, they could be a really dangerous team. Is it enough to get past Detroit, Gil, in the division? Or do you need more?
Um, I think it's enough. Like Detroit is one of the teams that really hasn't done anything, but Green Bay showed they can play with the best. They did it to Dallas. They had a tough loss with San Fran. They beat the Super Bowl champions, right? At the end of the day, they beat
Mhm.
KC too. So
Yeah.
they're there. Like they're there. They're in the ballpark. Are they contenders? I would say yes. Uh, Tony's Indy? No, not at all.
No,
Um,
no.
but but Indy can surprise everybody there. But um, let's see how Jacksonville does. Trevor Lawrence keeps falling on that team, but
Listen, they went to go trade for Mac Jones, so I'm starting to wonder about Trevor Lawrence.
yeah,
Yeah, that no, I was like, what the hell's going on there?
yeah, that's
They
true.
traded a sixth round pick for Mac Jones. Like what? Like I wish the Lino was on this show right now because it's funny. I just think it's funny. But the Colts are
Well,
going to rely a lot on Richardson's health to see what their ceiling is. We saw with CJ Stroud what happened with Houston. Maybe that's what Bartos is hoping for, that Richardson stays healthy and turns into CJ Stroud or into a running quarterback. Jose, you've been quiet. What do you think of Green Bay and the Colts before we get into our 49ers?
Listen, I already told you, the Colts, forget about it because I don't even want to talk about that team because that Barbosa pisses me off just looking at that ugly hat. Anyways, listen, they signed Pittman, Big Whoopity Doo, and they signed a couple of guys. They signed the same players they had last year, and they didn't make the
Right,
playoffs. So
right.
they're not improving their team. They're keeping the same thing. They just swapped backup quarterbacks. Flacco
Yeah,
is a guy. He had like a couple good games and he threw a lot of interceptions. So that's just Joe Flacco for you. If you're depending on him to be your backup in case Richardson gets hurt, I feel sorry for you. But anyways, that team is shit. I think they're gonna finish last place in that division. It's gonna be between them and the Jaguars. Even I think the Titans even upgraded their team much better
we're
than
going to
they
talk
did.
about them. Yeah, yeah.
As for the Green Bay
I think
Packers,
the Packers are
that was a
dangerous.
surprise. That was a
Yeah,
surprise. I wasn't expecting them to release
I was
Aaron Jones.
surprised.
Aaron Jones was like one of their best players all year this year. But the problem is just these guys. It's like if you can get another running back at a cheaper price, then
Yeah,
do it. That you save money. You save money against the cap, and that's what happened to our Niners too. Like Eric Armstead didn't want to take a pay cut. Get the hell out. But
yeah,
look, with that money, they ended up getting another like two or three players. So
yeah. They
it's not
signed a
like,
linebacker and a
and listen,
cornerback.
and
Yeah,
and the and running back position, it's going down to the shits because there's so many good kids coming out of college, and you can get a running back in the fifth round, sixth round, like fourth rounds that are going to be up. Like you can put them playing right away. So running back position, you have plenty of guys that you can put in, and probably cheaper deals and stuff like that for these. That's why running back. I'm surprised a lot. They got some good money this year, but it's a plug in position. It's not like very high at demand and stuff like that. So it is what it is. But no,
is
but you
anyone?
know what, Josh
Yeah,
Jacobs, I don't think he's a power runner. I think he's a finesse runner. I'm gonna disagree with Gil. I think he's a finesse runner. He's like the guy that if you can open pockets for him, he'll burst those pockets for a good 20, 30 yards. When
good
he had
pass
his
catcher too.
what's that? And
Good
he's a
pass
great pass
catcher too.
catcher. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Off the backfield. He's just the younger version of an Aaron Jones, I think. I think they're the same similar player. But the problem is last year he was injured a couple of times and he's been injury prone like his NFL's career. So, but if he can stay healthy, yeah, he's a great up like great player, and yeah, the Packers will be challenging the Detroit Lions for that AFC NFC North championship. So
Yeah.
for the division, whatever.
Are you surprised, Gil, that Aaron Jones went to Minnesota for 1 year, $7 million?
No, because that's just he's just making sure he gets to play Green Bay twice and try to do
Right.
revenge.
Right. There you go.
That's
Yeah.
that's what he's trying to
Yeah.
because as the Packers release Jones, I think Patriots are trying to rebuild. I think that would have been a good signing for them, and then draft a quarterback, and then they're headed
Yeah.
the right direction. But
Yeah.
apparently, talking to Lino, he's all excitable Gibson or whatever. So I don't know. I don't think that's the guy to build around, but because
Right.
New England's not gonna do nothing with Gibson. And Jose, by the way, you're trying to tell me you're gonna take Jacobs in the draft? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, why not? I took him.
I think he could have a great season. I mean, with Jacobs with a quarterback, he had it 2 years ago with no quarterback. He was great. So imagine with a quarterback, he might actually have a really great season for you. So I mean, I think it's a lateral move. I agree with Jose. It's a lateral move. I think he's a younger version. You guys will be fine. He just has to get used to the Lafleur offense, and you guys are going to be dangerous, Gil. I have to admit, your team is probably the most interesting team going into next season on in the NFC, and in the AFC, it's the Houston Texans who we'll talk about. I think Houston's a Super Bowl contender next year with the moves they've made. We'll get into them, but I want to talk about the 49ers first. Jose, I know we're cap strapped, but to me, the only focus that I had in this offseason was getting a right tackle. If we can get him in the draft, great. If we can trade from, great. But this team desperately needs a right tackle. We lost the Super Bowl because we had missed blocking assignments, which is the same thing that cost us against the Eagles 2 years ago. The team needs to get a proper offensive line or a right tackle to go with the average offensive line they have. You can't expect Kittle and Juszczyk to block, Chris Jones for the rest of their careers, and the cap hit that they are assigned just to do that is too much. So they lost Armstead to Jacksonville. I don't think it's a huge loss. We have enough defensive tackles, I think, and they haven't added to the offensive line, and now there's rumors about Ayuk being traded. So what's going on with our team, buddy?
It's just rumors. I like even listen. There's lots of good offensive tackles in the draft this year. There's lots, and they're all like talented players. You can get lots of. That's not even a problem. You don't even have to waste money to get the high end, whatever. I'm just think like the Armstead situation. We're like, you didn't want to take a pay cut, whatever. Fine, they can restructure a lot of these contracts. I think they restructured a couple of to save up money. So that's not even salary cap's not even an issue. As of Brandon Ayuk, you know what? Like, listen, if you can get a good deal for him, yeah, trade him. You know what? I don't.
So
I don't.
you would take if you got the Tyreek Hill deal, you'd take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Why not? Like,
Okay.
If you can get that deal, for Ayuk, that's a good.
I mean, you
good
probably won't
trade.
get 3 picks. You might get 1 first rounder, but I don't know. It depends what you know.
If you can get even a second rounder, like you to trust me, dude. Like, there's plenty of options of wide receiver. You can always you can always sign a guy off of the free agency. Like, there's still good wide receivers out there. Like, I know it's not an Ayuk type of player, but still, like, you can always find where Jennings or Juwan Jennings can start to put him up in the as a second wide receiver. Like, you have options, and you can always draft.
Use Kittle more. Use freaking Kittle more as a pass catcher instead of a blocker.
Too, like, you know what I mean? Like, you can use them. Dude, there's many ways of doing it. And then if he doesn't want to resign, then trade him. Try to get something for him. If he's not willing to, if they're not giving him a good deal and he doesn't want, you have to trade him. You're not going to lose him for nothing. At least get something for him, like a second round, third round pick, whatever. Doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. It is what it is.
Are we still a Super Bowl contender, Jose? And are the Rams? Hold on. And are the Rams a threat to beat us in the division this year?
dude, the Rams had a good year last year. They're an upcoming team too. Like they have a good like offensive players. They have like the running back was a big miss for them at the beginning of the year. They had a lot of injuries, but then when they started getting healthy, they were a good team and they finished great down the stretch. Yeah, they will challenge the 49ers. Of course they will. They have a team to challenge. Anybody could challenge the Niners in the NFC. I think the Niners are a Super Bowl contender. They still have the same team, like basically like they had this year. I think they're just gonna upgrade it on the draft because they have like a bunch of draft picks and stuff.
Yeah, finally, after the Trey Lance stuff
Yeah.
ended.
So
Yeah.
like you still have your first round pick, and you have like a bunch of like compensatory picks that they got from the NFL from everybody hiring their freaking like general managers and player.
That's right.
Like basically everybody's just trying to get like the
Yeah, I know.
Washington.
I know.
Washington took everybody from the Niners. Like it
I
was
know.
insane. It was
The
so stupid.
Commanders, Gil.
Yeah, but yeah, no, they'll be fine. I think they'll be in the hunt for the NFC Championship game. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. There's a lot of good a lot of teams upgraded and stuff like that. It's not gonna be easy, but I can see them getting there again.
Well, we lost Barbosa. Hopefully he comes back. Jose, I didn't mention this because we didn't talk after the Super Bowl, but I think that the hiring that the 49ers did this offseason is a disaster. How in the world they gave Brandon Staley a job as defensive
This
coordinator? I think that's a
he's
disaster
not a
move.
defensive coordinator. The defensive coordinator is the secondary coach that was there before. He's just an assistant. He's just an assistant. He's not the main defensive coordinator. The main defensive coordinator is that guy that was the secondary head. This like
Mhm.
he was taking care of the secondary, so they
Right.
upgraded him to the defensive coordinator. You know what? Listen, some guys are not meant to be coaches, okay?
Head coaches.
And some guys are good at defensive coordinators and stuff like that. So take for example the guy from McDaniels or whatever. He's a good offensive coordinator. That's that's what you should be. As a coach, he's horrible, horrible. And a lot of guys are like that. A lot of guys are better offensive coordinators or better defensive coordinators than they are coaches. So
Yeah.
to me, I you know what, the guy he was a defensive guru before he got coached, before he got sent to the
With
Chargers.
the Rams.
So
Yeah, he's with the Rams. Yeah.
the Rams exactly, and look at the defensive team that they always had.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like so, it's they'll be fine. I don't see that as a big issue. I found it surprising that they fired Wilkins, but then after what I've read and stuff like that, I figured
Yeah.
why I
Yeah.
figured out why he got fired because in that overtime playing zone, like, but
Wasn't smart.
it wasn't smart at all, and there was a lot of bullshit stuff too going on behind the scenes because he didn't want to be on the sideline, and Kyle Shanahan likes when
Yeah.
coaches sideline and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
but the Niners will be fine. They have the offense, they have the offensive players, the defense. They signed Floyd. That was a big pickup.
Yeah.
10 and a
Leonard
half
Floyd from
this
Buffalo.
year from Buffalo. They ended up getting a couple of defensive tackles with the money that they would have wasted for Armstead and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's not a big deal. So the Niners will be
Yeah.
fine.
So I want to get into the other players. Obviously, Gil, if you want to comment quickly on the 49ers, that you think they're still a Super Bowl contender?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I do feel they're a little bit worse than last year. Let's just say.
I would agree with that.
I
Depending on
would
what
say,
else
I would
happens,
say, I would say
Yeah.
they didn't get better, but they're still there. They're still contender,
still there.
obviously.
Yeah. So let's get into some of the other teams that may concern us in the divisions and stuff. Gil, we'll start with your division. The Bears signed Swift from Philadelphia, adding to their run game. They already had 3 running backs. I guess they wanted a 4th. They still haven't traded Justin Fields, and his market has dried up quickly. So it sure looks like they're going to draft Caleb Williams and have Fields in there, maybe playing the first few games before he's ready. But that Bears situation doesn't look good. They're not a threat to you or anything, Gil, but
Listen,
they're drafting Caleb Williams, right?
I would love that because Caleb Williams is a Tony Manziel. Okay,
Wow.
that guy's gonna bust hard. He's selfish. The combine, he even refused to do blood work.
Yep.
Like, who are you? I wouldn't just
Yeah.
not alone. I'm like, boy, who do you think you are, bro? Get the fuck out of here. You know?
Yeah.
You ever watch Draft Day when Kevin Costner
Yep.
has the first round pick and he mind fucks the whole draft when he just picks a random guy at number one and then nobody drafted the number one pick because they thought
Yeah.
something was wrong with him?
Yeah.
Well, that's what should happen. Williams is a selfish player. He's about himself. He's about money. He's not in it for the game. He's gonna be a bust. And I don't know. I hope the
So he
Bears
doesn't
draft
concern
him.
you at all. He doesn't
Not at
concern you
all.
at all. No.
What I said about Trevor Lawrence, I was right on the money. And trust me, this guy's gonna. They're better off drafting Daniels or Bo Nixon. So that's who I would draft if I was anybody. But let them do what they got to do. Swift will help them offensively, yes. At the end of the day, it's still going to be up to the Bears. If Fields stays, the Bears have to their defense. They're going to rely on their defense to try to keep them in games. Detroit is still Detroit. Like I said, they haven't done anything special, but they do need to fix their defense as well. Their secondary is not good. They're always in shootout games, right?
Yeah.
And then the Packers, we already talked about the Packers,
Yeah.
give or
Yeah.
take, right? And the Vikings, I think they're gonna flop. They're, you know what? Maybe Donald might do good there. I don't know. But
Yeah, we lost our backup, Sam Darnold, to Minnesota for $10 million, so I assume he's going to start there.
yeah, but who knows, right? But is he a threat? I don't think so.
No.
So, and they got Jones, which is a good addition to the running game.
Yeah, maybe they'll surprise. Maybe.
Minnesota still looks all disorganized.
Yeah.
So I think it's a Green Bay Detroit division.
Yeah.
But who knows, right?
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Barbosa and Jose, thoughts on Caleb Williams to the Bears, because it looks like he's going there.
I think I don't know. I think there's a lot of shit people talk. I don't know if it's true, dude. Like he can play. Okay, he's got the talent. He's got the talent to play and be a superstar in this league. But his attitude, his work ethic, he's got to improve it. Like he's got to change it. This is not high school. This is not a university anymore. You're not the main man on campus anymore. You have to earn your stripes in the locker room, especially with grown ass men and stuff like that. You got to earn their respect. Talent wise, yeah, he's crazy. He's insane. His team didn't do nothing because they had a shit defense that gave up like 50 points every single game. Like the man was putting up 30, 40 points a game, like, and they still losing games. Like, so it's not like all his fault and stuff like that. But I know, like Gil said, his attitude's got to change. He thinks he's like the main man. But then again, these kids nowadays, with all their agent stuff, like tell them, listen, you know what? You want to see me throw the ball? Come to my pro day, or like they'll only have like a couple of teams there that they want to be drafted by and stuff like that to show them at the pro day and stuff. So I think it's all like business. It's more business now than it is like actual skill and stuff like that. It's all about the money and stuff. But the man can play. He's gonna be, if they can get a good offensive line around him with weapons, I think he'll do really good in the NFL.
The Bears lost Mooney, but I guess they didn't consider that a big loss. Barbosa, a thought on Caleb Williams to the Bears, and if he'll be CJ Stroud this year, or
No, there's not going to be CJ Stroud. Listen, that was a crazy rookie season. I don't see any quarterback.
He won't be Bryce Young though.
Yeah, no, I don't think it'll be that bad either.
No. Okay.
But it depends on the situation also. It also depends on the situation he goes to, right?
Well, he's going to the Bears. I think the Bears are drafting him 100%. Yeah.
If I was the Bears, I would still stick with Justin Fields.
I would too, but
I would go after Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
Build a receiving core there. But that's whatever. But I hear the Bears are going after him, and it seems like they can't get any offers from Justin Fields. I think they're going to keep Justin Fields one more year. Maybe having competition might be good for either one of them. Who knows? But if I was the Bears, I would draft Marvin Harrison and build a receiving core around Justin Fields, because I think Justin Fields is still, He's a good quarterback. He's just gone through I don't know how many coaches and coordinators already.
Or at least.
So yeah, so I don't think the Bears know exactly what they want to do. To tell you the honest truth, I don't know. I just it's a sticky situation over there. So I don't know.
Well,
but my opinion is, don't get me wrong. Caleb Williams is a good player. He's a good quarterback. But it's you either go with the guy you know or the guy you don't know. You don't know what Caleb Williams is going to turn. You don't know what he's going to turn into, right? But so I don't know. It's a tough decision that the Bears have to make.
All right, before we take a break, speaking of teams that I'm wondering what in the world they're doing, the Pittsburgh Steelers decided to flip a coin on Russell Wilson. 1 year, $1.2 million after the Denver Broncos released him for an $85 million cap hit, 36.9 this year and 47 something next year. What are the Steelers thinking signing what looks like a cooked Russell Wilson? And I mean that intentionally.
That's a great pick.
This one. You think it's a great pickup?
Yeah, 100%. That's a great pickup for them. The man. You're gonna see what the Steelers this year. They already made a playoff with Mason Rudolph. Now with an experienced quarterback that has been playing, that knows. Trust me, the Steelers are gonna be dangerous. And that Patrick Queen pickup from the Ravens, buddy, that's as a linebacker, that was a steal of the. I think of the sign.
Him and Watt together is going to be something dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah, the Steelers will be dangerous. Even they got rid of Johnson, stuff like that too, and they'll have Pickens and stuff like that. I think they'll be fine. I think that was a great pickup just for 1 year to see if it works. It works. If it doesn't, then he's gone next year. You can always. But I think that was a great pickup for the guys that are available. Perfect.
Gil, do you like this move? I know you liked Russell Wilson for MVP 2 years ago, but you have to be off his bandwagon now.
Well, yeah, but I think he had issues with the coaching staffs in Denver.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever got along. Tomlin, I don't know. In Pittsburgh, it's a different style. It's there's the respect factor. There's Pittsburgh's about football, and I think it's all about organizing, reading playbooks. You know what? He'll make a difference. He'll be better than the Pickens, that's for sure.
Yeah, so that was Barbosa's sleeper pick for MVP. So, having said that, Barbosa, what do you think of the Russell Wilson move?
It's a low risk. It's a low risk signing. It's a low risk, high reward signing, right? If Russell Wilson can be that player that he was in Seattle, that quarterback, it's a great move. It's a great move for Pittsburgh. And you still got Pickens there, which is bad. That guy's gone through a couple of coordinators too in his young career. So it's not like, I don't know, but it's not a bad signing for that money. It's not a bad signing.
That's a really tough division he's in.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, for sure.
He's gonna have to be really good, like old Russell Wilson, to be competitive in that division. I think
Baltimore got a little bit better too. And I think Baltimore got a little bit better too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Baltimore. Yes. Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry. I mean,
that's gonna be a low key. That's gonna be a low key good signing.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best signings of the offseason. That's the perfect match with Derrick Henry going to Baltimore, a team that needed a running back that and he's
a physical running back, a physical running back,
a guy they can run in the playoffs because they obviously weren't confident in running Gus Edwards in the playoffs like that. That is a dream for your MVP there, Gil. You must love this move for your Ravens.
Yeah, I think it's great. Henry, you know what? In Baltimore, all Henry needs is to get to that second level as a whole.
Yeah.
And Tennessee wasn't great at it. And you put him in a Baltimore team, he's gonna find holes because this Baltimore team is very good. But yeah, Baltimore's gonna be right up there again next year. Count on it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have 3 years in a row of drafting Henry in fantasy. Just before we go, Gil, Jose, do you think that makes them better than last year?
Offensively, yes. Defensively, they lost a lot of key guys.
Yeah, Quinn. They lost Quinn.
Queen, freaking, they lost
Queen.
the cornerbacks and stuff like that. Then again, they can always plug in some guys there too. The defense is not going to be a dramatic loss, but they lost a lot of key guys on the defense. But they'll still be, though they should win that division. The team, they should win that division. But I'm telling you, that division.
Oh man.
Even, you know what? Maybe not the Bengals because of all the guys that's all the turmoil that's going on there and stuff like that. There's a lot of bullshit on the losing Joe Mixon and the guy Higgins wants to get traded and stuff like that. So that'll be losses if they lose them. But dude, if those that all four of those teams are playoff teams that can make the playoffs next year, right? So
it all depends on Deshaun Watson with Cleveland.
Yeah, they got a backup. I can't remember who they got. Who did they sign as a backup in Cleveland? The name just escapes me.
Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, Mason Rudolph.
No, Winston. They signed Winston.
James Winston.
Jameis Winston. That's what they signed. Yeah.
No, Rudolph went to Tennessee.
Rudolph's backing up Will Levis, and we'll get into Tennessee and Barbosa's division, which really improved when we come back from break. So stay tuned. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Reese Report. We're just gonna come back for a break. Gil had to go to the bathroom, so you have to go to the facility sometimes while you're doing the show. But we're gonna talk about Barbosa's division, the AFC South, which all of a sudden has become quite the division. The Houston Texans absolutely loaded up. They traded for Joe Mixon from the Cincinnati Bengals. They also added a lot of defensive players to add to a great receiving core. Dalton Schultz stayed for another 3 years. They got Tank Dell coming back off of injury. They have Nico Collins, who had the fantasy year of his life for me. Thank you very much, Nico. I'll get you again next year. And they have CJ Stroud, who, barring a complete collapse, could be an MVP candidate next year. I think they're a Super Bowl contender, guys. What do you think of the Texans' moves? Jose, you're more familiar with the moves and the names. You can tell us exactly what they did.
They loaded up on the defensive end, and they added a good running back in Mixon. They grabbed a pass rusher in Hunter from the Vikings. That guy gives you at least over 10 sacks a year. Him playing opposite of Will Anderson. That's a crazy duo right there. They ended up signing Al-Shazir from the Titans he's a good linebacker. Like tackle as well, and they loaded up on the secondary too. Like they got a couple of cornerbacks and stuff. They signed the main guys too, like the kicker Fredberg. He's a good kicker too.
Yeah,
man, the team is just loaded, man. And yeah, like you said, they're taking advantage of the rookie contract of their quarterback. So that's to expect. They're gonna be contending for the AFC South or whatever the division is.
Yeah. They could compete for the whole AFC.
I think they can compete for the AFC title, not just the AFC South.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have Houston winning the division there, Mr. Colt.
Calm down.
No, they'll win the division. I think that's the team to win the division. They should be the favorite to win the division. And I think they'll compete in the AFC. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year if they are the number one seed in the AFC. Wouldn't be surprised. It's a tough division. It is going to be a tough division. I still think Tennessee loaded up. I still think the Colts will finish second in the division. Just in my opinion. But it is going to be a tough division.
We'll get into the Titans in a moment. A little bit of news. Malik Collins was traded to the 49ers. So thank you, Houston, for that. Another defensive tackle to replace Arik Armstead. So thanks, Houston. That helps us out a little bit. Gil, you got to like what the Texans have done. We're going to get into the Titans, but the Texans, I don't think I'm overstating. They could win the AFC. What do you think?
Yeah, they're young, exciting. Last year,
Packers of the AFC.
Yeah, pretty much. Stroud had a good year. Uh, is he going to be consistent? We'll find out. But he's going to be playing a big part of that team's success. And let's see how the defense goes too there, because you know they still look shaky on D, I think, in my opinion. But yeah, sure, they could be contenders. Yeah.
Yeah. Now let's get into the Titans. The Titans made a load of moves to support Will Levis. They did lose Derrick Henry to Baltimore, which we talked about. They picked up Tony Pollard from the Cowboys to help their running game. I'm not sure he's a lead back, but that's fine. Yeah, I don't think he's a lead back either, Barbosa, but nice move. They had to replace Henry.
Sure.
They also picked up Calvin Ridley. I think they gave him too much money, but he's a nice pickup. I'm not sure he had the best year in Jacksonville last year, but they needed a wide receiver to go with Hopkins, so that made sense. Who else did they pick up? Who else did they pick up? So they did this for Will Levis. And so they made some nice moves, but I don't know if it's enough to get them over the top. Losing Henry's a big deal, so maybe your Colts can finish ahead of them. The problem is you can't beat Jacksonville, and Jacksonville, who added Mac Jones, which is hilarious. I still can't believe they added Mac Jones for a 6th-round pick. I guess they're really desperate for a backup quarterback because Trevor Lawrence gets hurt every year. They also added Gabe Davis from the Bills to add to their receiving core, along with a couple of defensive players as well. I guess who finishes second in the division? Is it going to be like? Do you like the Titans? You said, Jose, you like the Titans.
No, I don't think they're going to finish second. I think it's going to be Houston. In my opinion, Houston first, Jags second, and then Titans and thing will battle it out for third and fourth spot, and the Colts. But yeah, you know what? Everybody sleeps like there's. You know what? Every year, there's always a team that surprises everybody in the NFL. This year was Houston. Nobody was expecting Houston to do what the run that they went. Okay, but you know, like you know what? I think the Titans. I think the Titans can surprise a lot of teams, man. This year,
yeah.
I can see them surprising a lot of teams, but I don't think they're gonna be. Don't get me wrong, a juggernaut. And trust me, Houston's not gonna be AFC championship game team. No, I don't think they're there yet. I think CJ Stroud.
I like the
everybody's.
moves.
What?
I like the moves that they made. I think they made.
I like the moves too, but I don't think they're an AFC championship team. I still don't think they're better than the Ravens. I still don't think they're better than the Chiefs. I still don't think they're. And nobody's talking about this team too, but look at the Raiders, man. The Raiders upgraded their team too. They
pick up Gardner Minshew.
And the quarterback position still.
That's sketchy. They're not done yet. They're not done yet. Trust me. They'll draft a quarterback. They'll draft a quarterback.
Okay. No, they gave Gardner Minshew $25 million. He's going to start.
He's not going to start, dude. He give him
$25 million. They better start. They got rid of Jimmy Garoppolo and they signed him to $25 million. He better start.
He's going to be a backup there. He's not going to start. But anyways, look at the pickups that they did on defense with Wilkins and stuff like that. Him and Crosby are going to cause havoc. Trust me, I'm telling you.
Underpaid. Yes.
And you know what? Everybody was talking about Justin Fields. You know what? Justin Fields, I can see him going to Denver, man. Denver needs a quarterback.
Yeah, sure.
They're high. They're high on what's that kid's name?
I think they're going to draft the guy. But yeah,
Bo Nixon.
The guy from Michigan. No, weren't they going to draft the guy from Michigan?
Yeah, McCarthy and stuff like that. But then who do you still? You need a guy that, trust me, those guys are not going to be ready to play first year, man. And like besides Caleb Williams, Daniels, and maybe that guy Drake Mayo, those guys, the other guys are not. I don't think they're first year
Nixon's not ready.
I don't think what.
Bo Nixon's not ready.
Dude, I don't think he's ready to unless you want to kill him. Because that team has no weapons. You traded your best wide receiver and stuff like that. If he ends up going to the Denver,
the Jets.
I don't see them unless you want to get killed. I don't care. That's your problem. But I just think nothing special from them. But Whatever.
Speaking of nothing special, let's talk about the Falcons. They added Kirk Cousins for a ridiculous 4 years, $180 million for a guy coming off an Achilles injury who's never won anything, $100 million guaranteed because they couldn't stand Desmond Ridder anymore. They also added Darnell Mooney, another receiver they probably overpaid for 3 years, $39 million. I don't think this makes the Falcons better. Maybe they throw the ball a lot more. Obviously, Bijan Robinson is great, but I don't trust Kirk Cousins. I still have Tampa Bay winning the division with Evans and Mayfield. I'm
Nope.
sure you guys are going to be on the Cousins train right now. Gil already shook his head, so I know where he stands. But since you guys think this is the missing link for the Falcons,
100%. What
Wow.
last year? How many games did they lose because of their backup? Because of their quarterback play?
Their backup
100%.
quarterback
He's
is
better
the
than anyone they
backup
had.
Quarterback play, never mind backup.
no, he's
starter,
better
doesn't
than anyone
matter.
they had.
And they almost had the same record as, or if not, they had the same record as
8
the
and
Tampa
9?
Bay.
I think they were 8 and 9. Yeah,
Well, no, what was Tampa Bay? 8 and 9, 9 and
9
9
and
and
8.
8. Tampa
9
was
and
9 and 8.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
by one game, and now they upgraded. Like, honest truth, answer this question: Who
Kirk
is the
Cousins
best
is good
quarterback
for
in that?
2 more
Who is
wins.
the best quarterback in that division right now? Hands down, it's Kirk Cousins. I'm sorry, but it is.
I like
Kirk Cousins
Mayfield
is the
better.
best quarterback in that division.
I think Mayfield's better. That's my
I
opinion.
Mayfield's
think
better than him. You're insane.
I think Cousins not worth that money though.
Okay, I'm not saying about the money.
He's
I'm not.
37 years old, coming off an Achilles. I think that's a bad signing.
Doesn't matter if you're coming off Achilles. A lot of guys have come off.
If you're looking at money wise, if you're looking at money,
That's what I'm
okay,
saying.
yeah, it's a big
They
money.
overpaid
It's
him.
a big ticket. But do I think he makes that team a lot better? 100%. Buddy, watch Kyle Pitts. Watch Kyle Pitts this year. You're gonna see. Finally, guy gets a quarterback
Is
that can
any
throw the ball to
receiver
him.
on Atlanta better than Jefferson?
Jefferson?
Yeah.
No, there's nobody.
Can
But there's
you
So
name
then-
a
so then
wide
why,
receiver?
why is Kirk
Hold
Cousins
on.
going to make
Can
him
you
a
name a
world
wide
beater?
receiver better than Justin Jefferson in the whole NFL?
Right. So he's going to Atlanta from Minnesota, and he's going to be better than he was in Minnesota? I don't think he's going
I'm
to be
not
better.
saying he's going to
I'm
be
not
better. Hold
saying
on.
better.
Hold on.
I'm just saying
Here we
the
go.
team. The team
Here we
is going
go.
to be better.
The team is going to be way better.
They should run the ball with Bijan. Don't
Okay,
throw the
you're
ball.
telling
deep
me
with
you're telling
Cousins.
me Kirk Cousins. You're telling me Kirk Cousins is not good for another 2 or 3 more wins than what they had.
Do we know with his Achilles? Is he going to be the same quarterback? Do we know that?
Do we-
We just saw what Aaron Rodgers looked like.
What's the difference between an Achilles or not? He's a pocket quarterback. It's not like he's a running quarterback. It's not like he's Lamar. If he was Lamar Jackson, okay, that's understandable. Achilles, but he's not. He's not a mobile quarterback. He's a pocket quarterback.
He's better than anything Atlanta had. I'll give you that. They're way better
And
than anything
he's
Atlanta
better
had.
than any quarterback in that division. I'm telling you, Baker
I like
Mayfield.
Baker better than him.
What's Baker Mayfield done except last year? He got booted out of every single team that he was in.
Not his fault. He
He was
had 7
shit
coordinators
everywhere
in
he
3
went.
years.
What's that?
Baker was Justin Fields before Justin Fields. He had 7 coordinators in 3 years. like he finally settled down onto a team that wanted him. He played his butt off for $4 million.
But
And they gave him
but just shows you how shit he is. They only had one extra win than the Atlanta Falcons with Ritter and the Heineke as
Yeah,
their
but that's
coach.
because the defense too. The defense was kind of
Trust
sketchy.
me. Great pickup. The
But
money that they
saying,
spent, you have to overpay because you honestly used the best quarterback as a free agent quarterback that
Oh,
was
sure.
there.
There was
he was the
nobody
best
else.
quarterback
He
available.
was gonna get
100%.
overpaid no matter what.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Is he
Do you
worth
think
that
they
much
win
money?
Yeah.
But-
Do they win the division, Jose?
Yes, they do.
Okay. Gil?
I agree.
I'm gonna say no.
You got Tampa? Yeah, I got Tampa too. I don't believe in Kirk Cousins. He puts up numbers but never wins. I've never seen him win a
How
big
can
game in
you
his
say
life.
that he doesn't win, dude? Like, how can you say he doesn't win?
Didn't they win the division
Was
2
he
years
great in
ago?
Minnesota?
They
Didn't they win the
and
division
Tell
2
me,
years
Jose,
ago?
was he
2
great
years
in
ago.
Minnesota? Was
Yes,
he great
he
in
was.
Minnesota?
Didn't they win the division 2
He
years
wasn't
ago?
great. He was good.
Yeah, and then they lost to Daniel Jones. Okay,
So what's your
let's
point?
not go there. Okay, let's not go there.
You're telling me that Jordan Love is better than freaking Dak Prescott?
But they're better than Dak Prescott?
Yeah,
Why are we doing that comparison?
because the Packers beat the freaking the Cowboys this year.
If you ask me who I would
You're-
take now, I would take Jordan Love now because he's younger and going to be better. So I would take Jordan Love if that's what you're
But
asking me.
you had 1 year of NFL experience, and you're gonna take him over Dak
I
Prescott.
would take him over Prescott because he makes less money. He has more
Okay.
potential. I'm not going to take Dak at 60 million. I'm not going to take Cousins at 40 million. It makes no
Okay,
sense.
forget
Why
about
would I
the
do that?
money. Forget about the money.
He's
Forget
36
about
years
money.
old,
If you're gonna
guys.
bring money
Like-
into this, okay, forget about money. Let's look at talent wise.
Okay, let's talk about age and his injuries. Let's talk about that.
talent wise. Okay. You were comparing. Let's talk about talent wise. Who's a better quarterback?
With who? Do you need a comparison?
Okay, what do you want to say?
better
Okay,
than anything Atlanta had.
You guys are comparing Jordan Love and Dak Prescott.
No, I'm not
Okay.
comparing. I'm just saying. I'm contradicting what he was saying because they lost
Okay.
to the Giants in the playoffs.
Oh, okay, I get
So
what you're
what
They
saying.
lost to Daniel Jones at home. Come on, like guys, like don't. This is a joke. That's a joke. Come on.
But that's what I'm trying to say to you. So
He
you
doesn't
think
win big
you
games
think Jordan
ever.
Love is better than Dak Prescott because he beat them last year in the
It
playoffs?
is not a one-time situation, Jose. He's never won a big game in his life. Ever.
Yes, he has. Yes, he
When?
has. They took him to the semifinals of the NFC Championship when they lost to the Niners. They got blown up by the Niners.
That wasn't
You
him.
forget when they beat the Saints
That wasn't him.
in overtime when
That wasn't him.
Mason Rudolph catched a touchdown in the back of the end zone
They
against
didn't go
the
to the
Saints in the
championship
first.
game with Cousins. They didn't go to the championship game with Cousins.
They made it to the semifinals of the NFC against the Niners, and they got whooped by the Niners. That's the year that
second round, not the championship.
yeah, the second round. Exactly.
Second
That's what I'm
round,
saying. It's the semifinals of the NFC championship of
They-
NFC.
They beat New Orleans. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
Then they got
exactly.
destroyed
So
by the
don't think that
49ers. Yeah.
he doesn't win. But we're not talking
He's
about
got
playoffs.
one
We're talking
playoff
about
win in
regular
Minnesota his
season.
whole career. One playoff win, and he's a winner. Okay, never wins primetime games. Never ever. Like never wins primetime games.
And
One playoff win
Pres-
in Minnesota. Like
and,
okay.
and Prescott's in the same situation. Another bust.
Yeah. Like honestly, I'm not a fan of Prescott either. If you want to compare Prescott, I do not want Prescott on my team ever.
down to it, when it comes down to it, they can't win the game, man.
Like that was a total choke job by Prescott in the playoffs. Like it might as well be Prescott and Cousins together because they're overpaid and overrated, both of them. So that's fine. You want stats in the regular season? Go ahead. Give him 60 million a year, 40 million a year. Ain't gonna win you any big games, but go ahead, take them. Good luck. So let's go to we have just a couple of teams. The Eagles. The Eagles completely fell apart last year as predicted by Barbosa. Congratulations, Barbosa. You had this pegged in week 5 that they were falling apart, even though they're 10-1. So congratulations to you. They added the injury-prone Saquon Barkley for a pretty big contract, actually, to replace DeAndre Swift. Does this make any difference at all for them, considering how bad their defense was last year?
It makes them a lot better team.
Just because they added Barkley? Okay. All right.
It makes them a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
They will win that division again just by adding Saquon Barkley.
What about their defense, though?
They didn't have a running game. I think
Swift was good last year.
Was
Swift not good
but
last year, Jose?
they didn't have much of a running game.
He's not as a crazy
No, he's
threat
not as
like
good as
Barkley.
Barkley, but their running game
If
wasn't the problem last
if
year.
Barkley can stay injured, that team offensively will be dangerous because
Yeah,
what are you going to do? Stack the box to stop the run against them? And then they're going to throw the ball at you with.
No, but the Eagles' problem was
with-
Jalen Hurts throwing picks and their defense. That was the problem last year, not the running
Yeah,
game.
but their defense, they lost Fletcher Cox, but they can the draft they can draft a couple
Yeah,
of good
they're
players.
good at the draft. Yeah, they're good at the draft.
They'll be a playoff team. I'm not saying
and I
they're
like
gonna be,
and the coordinator's pretty good. The defensive coordinator that they got.
Yeah,
And they so obviously I think Kelsey is a big loss. Let's be honest. He's a big loss for that offensive line. But I do like that Saquon Barkley move. I didn't expect that, but I like that move. If he stays healthy, that's a scary team. That's a scary team for sure.
So we'll get into some crying that players do before we end the show. Higgins requests a trade. The Williams cut from the Chargers. The Saints release Michael Thomas. Lots of interesting players out there. where do you think these guys end up? Like we got Higgins, Ayuk is out there doing stupid shit on Twitter to try to get traded. Um, do you think any of these players can help anybody? I mean, we saw Brissett go to the Pats, which I think is funny because Lino's team over there.
I think I think these guys, if they, the problem is these guys are unhealthy, man.
Yeah.
And the problem is, if Michael Thomas can stay healthy, that guy is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, and he's proven,
Not the
and it's been
best.
proven. He's
You
been
can have him
proven
for
like
cheap though, right?
exactly. So if you want to take a risk on him, like a 1 year shit contract for him, just to see how he.
I wish my coach would do that. I wish my coach will take a
You know what?
charge out
Jose,
that.
we should take a shot at him.
These guys, if they can stay healthy, they're really good players. The problem is they're injury prone and they get hurt a lot. And Michael Thomas is just dude like that. If it hasn't been for injuries, man, that guy could be one of the best wide receivers of all time, man. Like he's got that skill, he's got the talent. It's just he can't stay healthy. That's the problem with him. I don't know what it is. Maybe playing in turf or something. I don't know. Yeah, try. Hey, if I was the Niners, I would bring him in as
Why
a
not?
third wide receiver. Bring him in, like at like a minimum contract, whatever that is. Take a risk on him. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, what do you?
Yeah.
It is what it is. But you want to get out, then trade him, man. Like you don't need guys like that in the change room that cause like problems and stuff like that. Like you don't want to be there. You're just gonna cause problems. Get rid of him. Trade him. Like who cares? You can get
And-
somebody. You can get somebody to replace him. And nowadays, with all these young kids and talented guys coming from college, get Jerry Rice's son.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. And finally, what happened to Austin Eckler? I thought this guy was like one of the best running backs in the league, and only the
Injuries.
Commanders wanted him. That's it.
Yeah.
He went to the
Injuries.
Commanders.
Injuries.
Injuries again. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this whole year, I think he only played like 5 or 6 games the whole season.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe he's too small, right?
It's just injuries, but nobody's talking about the Washington. They got some pretty good players too.
They
Man.
did.
They picked
Yeah.
up some good players, and if they can draft Mayo and May and stuff like that from the quarterback from North Carolina, they'll be fine. I think they'll be okay.
They're number 2, right, in the draft.
Yeah,
Who do you think they're going to take, Jose? They're not going to take. They're going to take a quarterback, right?
yeah, they're taking Drake May.
Probably Drake May, right? So
Yeah,
that's
If
a
the
big
Bears
surprise.
if the Bears don't take Caleb, they're gonna take Caleb Williams.
So who's going to
I
end up
think
with
they want
Williams
Caleb
then?
Williams. Huh?
Who's going to end up with Harrison then?
Harrison's going to go Arizona at 4.
Arizona, eh?
Yeah, if
By the way,
the
that's
quarterbacks
where Ritter
go for,
went
yeah.
to back up Murray.
Yeah, if the quarterbacks go all 3 picks, then definitely he's gonna be the fourth.
Arizona's 4, Jose?
Yeah, Arizona's 4.
Yeah, I think they're going to pick Williams for
New
sure.
England's
It's-
3.
yeah.
New England should go quarterback. At
New
3.
England's drafting a quarterback.
If
I
I'm
think they
Arizona,
should
I'm
block
for
the
sure
Jacobs.
picking Harrison. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Huh?
they're taking Harrison at 4 for sure. And then the Chargers are going to take that offensive tackle from Notre Dame or Alabama or whatever the hell it is.
Well, God knows they need to protect Herbert, so that's they should certainly do that. So
And
that's our
a lot of contracts, the Khalil Max and all these guys, so then they can free up some cap space too. Look, listen,
yeah.
this is just shows you how the NFL's all screwed up.
yeah.
You release like they were like 58 million over the cap. You released a wide receiver. You restructured Khalil Mack's contract. You restructured some other guy's contract.
Joe
and
Bosa.
They're like,
Bosa,
they have $10
restructured
million
him.
in cap space. So
Yeah.
like it's dude, like I'm not even worried about this stupid caps things because there's always ways of like working around
Yeah.
it and stuff like that. And then every year it keeps going up and stuff. So whatever.
And just before we go, Jim Harbaugh was finally lured to the NFL to join the Chargers. How much better will they be? And the reason why I'm asking this is we had a show on Justin Herbert and whether he's overrated or not or needs a coach. How much better will they be with Jim Harbaugh coaching? We'll start with Barbosa since this was a big topic last year.
I think you'll see. I think you'll see.
Are they a playoff team? That's a tough one.
Yeah, yeah.
You
They'll
think
be
they're
a playoff team. Yeah,
Wow, in that
100%.
conference. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just Harbaugh alone is gonna
I
make
think
them
it'll be.
better.
I think there'll be a playoff team. He's a buddy.
I know
Everywhere
he's
he's
good.
gone,
I know
everywhere he's
Harbaugh's
gone,
good.
he's improved teams. And not by 2 or 3 seasons. It's like it happens. It happens like this with him and Justin Herbert under Arba. I think you'll see the true Justin Herbert. I think that you'll see his full talent on display. 100%.
I think it's going to be tough because that conference is so deadly and they're in a tough
I
division.
know,
Like,
but
yeah.
but he's got to be. What do you got? He's probably the
Well,
best, probably the fourth or fifth best quarterback in that conference, and
well,
in the
they got
NFL.
Keenan Allen still. They lost Williams. They still need to
Yeah,
add, but they don't have a lot of cap space. So Jose, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs yet.
They
They'll
will
be
make.
better,
I
but
think
yeah,
they'll be better. I don't think this year they'll make playoffs. Next year they'll
right.
make playoffs. Sure, I'm
Next
telling
year,
you.
yeah.
Next year playoffs. Not this year. I think this year they'll be a much improved team. Like they'll
be tough to
fight.
beat
They'll
every
win
single
they'll win
game.
more
Yeah,
than they did this year, 100%. But I just think he needs to at least one more year to make that team hit like the way he wants it. Like he
yeah.
starts drafting guys from offensive lines and defensive lines, and then he works his way out. So until he builds a good offensive line to protect Herbert, I don't think that team's gonna do anything like special. They can probably try to maybe squeak in like the wild card, maybe, but I don't think so. I think next year they'll be a contending team next year.
So Jim Harbaugh, do they make them no longer the San Diego Shitty Chargers, or is it too hard to overcome?
Well, I think first of all, Harvard is gonna make the team better because how many games they lost with stupid coaching decisions.
Yeah,
Right?
5-11 last year.
We
Yeah, I know.
saw a lot of losses that was literally the coach's decision
Yeah,
that
yeah,
lost the
yeah.
game. We all
right.
saw that. So
Yeah,
just that alone,
disaster. Yeah,
just that alone
they'll
is
win
gonna
3
be
more games
better.
just because of that. I know.
Herbert, yeah, I think he'll get the best out of Herbert. They're gonna go deep into this um the playbook, pick their plays.
They're gonna have to draft well.
Yes, they're gonna have to get some help. Just like Jose said, Mike Williams is injury prone too.
Eckler's gone.
Yeah, Eckler's gone. They're in a rebuilding stage. Herbert's still young, so they can still rebuild around him, but they got to do it right. And I think Harvard will do it right.
Yeah, no, I think he'll be fine there. But I agree with Jose. 2 years from now, they'll be a team to reckon with. So that's our show for now. We will try to come back for the draft if we can have all the guys back, because I think the draft's going to be really interesting. And all these guys follow the college a lot more than me, so I'm going to need them back to talk about the draft. We'll see if we can do a show before or after or even during the draft just to see what happens, get some instant reaction. So we'll definitely do that to keep it going. We'll also have the European Championship in June and July, which we'll cover. So we're not going away. We'll be away for a few weeks here and there, but we'll be back once a month, twice a month, just to keep you busy because the NFL never stops, as you know, which is why they're probably the most popular league in the world that makes all the money.
King.
So, I mean, that's it, right? Like, even when there's no NFL, there's NFL. That's
Right.
why
There's
the
March
king, right?
Madness. Let the madness begin.
Yes, we will have brackets. That's coming up, what, in a week or so, no? So, yes, we are going to be back for brackets. So get your brackets ready because we're coming back with brackets. All of us are going to do brackets.
I'm brackets.
All right,
Yeah.
so we will be almost forgot about that. We will be back for brackets as the ACC tournaments and all that's going on right now. So we'll see what happens there. We already had one upset as St. Mary's knocked Gonzaga out for the first time in 6 years in WCC. So we're already seeing some crazy upsets. So, Jose, does that mean you're out of the tournament? You're still getting in?
No, the Gonzaga is getting in.
You'll still get in. Okay.
They were ranked 25, top 25, so they're getting in.
Yeah.
Maybe
They're just not
now
as good this year as they have in the past.
They're probably going to be like a fifth or a fourth seed, but they'll be not going to go anywhere this year.
They're not that good this year. Yeah. Okay, so we will come back then for the NCAA brackets, and we'll see how we do there. We always do terrible, but maybe one of us will get it right. But until then, I'm the mouth of North Andrews. That's Jose Carlos Gomes, Gilbey Santos, and Joey Barbosa. we're going to call you Anthony for now. So you're still Tony because your quarterback's not hurt, but we're going to have to switch you to Joey if your quarterback decides to slide into a wall again, all right, and get another concussion.
Oh, he already said he's gonna be smarter at playing quarterback this year. So
Yeah, you gotta calm down there, Mr. Rich. You're not college anymore, okay?
yeah, I know.
But we'll see you on the next Reach Report and hit my music.